So in today's episode of How to Fly, we are going to be no, not today. This week's episode of How to Fly, that's the one. We're going to be covering bombers, and we're not just going to be doing 4-engined variety either. We're going to be covering single-engine, twin-engined, and 3-engine bombers. Now, for the sake of the video, because I'm going to do it in a later video, for single-engine bombers, we are not going to be covering dive bombers. I will do that in a later video, like in a ground attack special thing. But today we are going to be covering different types of high-level bombing and dive bombing. Now, alright, did I say I wasn't going to do dive bombing? Because if I said, I meant I am going to do dive bombing today. But we're not going to be doing any sort of strafing run. I was going to use the Stuka, but I thought, you know what, if we're going to be out in Pearl Harbor, I think I'm going to use the Dauntless. So I am. So we're just going to bomb the American base for some reason. But a couple of things to say about dive bombing. I'm using the Dauntless instead of the Stuka or whatever the Japanese one was called. I've completely forgotten. Because the Dauntless, the air brakes on the Dauntless are much more effective than on other aircraft, so it is much easier to recover from a dive because the aircraft is not going anywhere near as fast. And I'm going to be using all American aircraft in this video, so I might as well use the Dauntless. So, how do I go about doing a ground attack run? Well, not a ground attack one, a dive bombing run. So, well, we're just going to fly over to Ford Island for the minute. I'm probably going to bomb one of those hangars instead of the village, because hangars woo. So this isn't the SBD-3, this is actually the SBD-5, which is a later variant of the aircraft. But that makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. And I've forgotten to start out of steam again. Oh dear. Well, it's going to stay like that. But dive bombing, no, okay. Dive bombing is relatively easy. The way dive bombing works is where you point your gun sight, the bombs are pretty much going to 90% of the time fall there. Although, oh, actually, there's an oil field over here. There's some containers with what looks like oil in them, so I think I'm going to go bomb those instead. Now, something to note when you're dive bombing: only certain aircraft have this feature, but you have air brakes. Now, air brakes are going to slow the aircraft down a lot, and I mean a lot. They will basically stop you from overspeeding in the dive, and when you pull out, it's just going to do that. So, I'm going to roll over, I'm going to extend the air brake, and I'm going to pull up. And what we're then going to do is we're going to drop our bombs, and they should land. There you go. That was where I had my my gun sight pointed. So now we've dropped our bombs, we can throttle up and we can fly away. So as you can see, dive bombing is not something that's hard to do. I just destroyed quite a lot of oil containers there with relative ease. And for some reason my game just dropped to 50 FPS there. I don't know why. Come on, you've been running at 140 constant and you just dropped to 60. Why? Right, so I'm just going to come in for a landing, and then I'm going to switch aircraft and we're going to go through higher level bombing. So high altitude sort of runs. Now, air brakes will also come in handy when landing on carriers for slowing down, especially in an aircraft like the SBD-3. I don't tend to use them that much in propeller-driven aircraft, but in jets, they are a flipping lifesaver. So next video, which is going to be coming out next weekend, is going to be on carrier operations. And I'm going to go through propeller-driven aircraft and jet-driven aircraft taking off and landing on carriers. The landing on a carrier is the harder part. Now this is going to be carrier operations for Ultra Pack, not for the base game. Ultra Pack has a catapult system that makes it easier for jets to take off, so that's why I'm using it. And come on, go down, go on, touchdown. Bit of a bounce. But other than that, we are down. So I'm going to pull back on the stick, and I'm just gently going to apply the brakes. And we are down. And we have stopped. How much runway do we have left? Oof. I had all of that runway to stop, and I stopped there. Eek. But yeah, I will see you in a second when I'm going to be flying the B-25 Mitchell, and we're going to be bombing some higher. We're going to be bombing hopefully the same place, just from a higher level. The last aircraft I'm going to cover is the B-17, but I'm going to cover the takeoff and landing on that as well. So I'm actually going to move the location for that. I'm actually probably going to go back to the Battle of Britain map for that, but for this, I'm just going to carry on with Mitchell. Why did I go menu? I clicked on the menu. Grr. Too soon. So I will see you in a minute. So we are back, and we are in the B-25 Mitchell. Now the Mitchell it's a different aircraft. You could say that. Actually, I'm just going to take the stabilizer off for a minute, just so I can point it in the right direction. Okay. So at the minute I have the level stabilizer on. Now the level stabilizer is something that comes very in handy when you're flying big bombers like this. I use it all the time. So let's just pause the game. What are we actually doing here? Well, I've got my rudder trim all the way to the right, and I've got my level stabilizer on. Now with the level stabilizer on, the aircraft takes control of itself and flies in a straight line. You can't make any inputs with the controls whatsoever. They do not work. The only things you can do is use the trim controls to make small adjustments. So if we take it a pause again, I'm just gonna kick the rudder in a bit more. Okay, right, I'm gonna set the rudder back to neutral. No, I'm not, because it's veering off to the left side. So what do you want to do when you bomb? Well, you want to go into the bomb aims position, and you want to click Shift and F1, I have it assigned to. This one at the bomb aims position. So, what we're going to do is we're going to set the bomb sight altitude to the right altitude, which for us is 7,600 feet. These are all custom bindings that I've had to set up. So, speed is 200 miles an hour, and we're going to set the elevation up. Now, I'm also now going to open the bomb doors, and I think we are lined up perfectly. We are. I'm just going to whack the rudder on a bit further. No, that'll do there. Now, I'm not actually going to... Now, before we do anything, I just want to say that there is a control here that is very handy. And if you press Control V, what it does is it basically takes control of the sight. And I'll show you how it does that. So if we just keep looking there. As you can see, it's now roughly tracking the target. Now what this will do is it will release the bombs on cue. If you set everything up right, it will release the bombs on the target when you tell it to. So if I just move that back a bit, there we go, bombs away. So our bomb should land somewhere in the middle of those ish. So I'm actually going to close the doors, and we're now going to watch. What you could hear was the bombs. Ah! They appear to have landed a bit further on than where I expected them to. And I know why. Okay. So the reason they've landed a bit further is because the plane has had a slight increase in speed since when we dropped the bombs. So, how do we counteract this? Well, if you know the plane's going to accelerate, what you need to do is you need to either drop the throttle or you need to pre-aim your target by a certain amount. Now that, in certain cases, is fairly easy. But for what I was just doing, it was quite hard because I had nowhere to like reference as a pre-aim spot apart from the port there. So there was nothing I could really do about that, and the bombs were going to land off target any day of the week. So actually, I think that was kind of the bomb site's fault and mine for not inputting the correct speed, I think. But other than that, that was a pretty successful run. I mean, if you were bombing, say, a city or an airfield, the distance that we just lost out of that target there probably wouldn't make a difference because there's just so much that you could be hitting. And for some reason the B-25, I only found this out a second ago, the B-25, because it was also used as a ground attack aircraft, has... no, that's the wrong button. Has a button, no, not a button, a machine gun in the nose. As you can see. It also has a couple of turrets. There's the nose gunner, there's the mid-upper gunner, there is the tail gunner, as we can see here. If I just take the autopilot off, I can now fly the aircraft and have the tail gun at the same time, which is wonderful. As we can see here. Whoa! And if I just set that up level again, put the autopilot back on, we also have 2 side gunners. Yes, I can shoot my own plane. We're not going to go into that though. So, what should you be doing with the gunners when you're under attack? Well, what I would recommend doing is putting the plane on autopilot. Now, without autopilot automation, which for me is 10, if you have that on, what it will do is every time you switch seats, the autopilot for the seat that you just left gets turned on, and the autopilot for the seat you've just moved into gets turned off. Without that, you can move around the aircraft freely, and if you want, you can control all the stations. But that means the AI won't be able to do anything because they haven't got control. So this is easier in some cases, but it's harder in some cases. Now, something I would recommend doing when aircraft are attacking you, and for this I'm actually just going to put the level stabilizer on. I'm going to switch to the top gunner. Okay, so say there's an aircraft here, and he's moving in this direction. I don't want to aim there, I want to aim here. And I want to lead the target. So what that does is it gives the bullets time to travel to the target before they're going to hit. So leading your target is something that we're going to learn when we do dogfighting as well. But not quite yet. Oh, hello. I'm going to shoot the plane down. I have no rudders now, this isn't good. Oh, okay, so I'm going to turn that one back on. Alright, if we just take that off, as you can see, I have no rudder input whatsoever, and the level stabilizer is still on, I forgot. I just turned the autopilot on, alright. For some reason it's still giving me rudder movement, okay. But yeah, that is it. Actually, whilst I'm here, I'll give you a brief tutorial on how to make a crash landing. So, say we have engine 2 has just died, and I only have engine 1 still running. So, you know, we're flying a twin engine plane and we've been hit and I only have 1 engine running. It's going to be very hard to make a simple landing now because the aircraft is going to want to throw itself over to one side. So what we need to do is we need to lower the throttle as much as possible, and we need to lower the landing flaps. And we need to get as close to the ground as we can. We do not want a lot of speed when we're doing this. You want even less speed than when you're doing a normal landing. And that's a forest, so I might die. No, we've kind of survived that. Oh dear. Pay attention to your surroundings, he says. Okay, so I'm only doing 110, but that's going to result in my certain death, so I'm actually going to put the throttle all the way back up for the minute, and I'm now going to drop it. Okay, so what we need to do is just gently bring the aircraft in. Now, it is optional to put the gear down on a crash landing, like that. Only problem is, that's just if you want to ditch the aircraft in a field and try and take off again later on. I prefer not to. If I need to make a crash landing, I will leave the gear up, because if the gear snaps on impact, you could roll the aircraft and just end up killing yourself. So it's something that you want to watch out for. But this is going to be the last section of the video now, and we're going to go back to Blighty for this section. Excuse me. I'm now going to cover 4 engine aircraft. I'm not going to use the B-17 for this because it's not going to be practical. Instead, I shall use the B-24. So I will use the B-24. I will climb to altitude, and we will do a high-level bombing run. If that makes sense. See you in a minute. So here we are, the B-24 Liberator, and we are back in the UK. As you can see, we are at Tangmere. I think we're at Tangmere anyway. Are we at Tangmere? I don't know. I think we're near Tangmere, if we're not. the radar station's somewhere over there, and we're at a fairly big airfield, so I don't think it matters. But we have the B-24 Liberator here. Now, I've just noticed that the runway that they've given me to take off on is going to be nowhere near enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up, I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to taxi, and I'm going to take off like that. So this gives me a good opportunity to give you some techniques for taxiing. So, with the bomber, of course, all engines start separately, so I'm going to select engine 1, I'm going to start that, select engine 4, and I'm going to start that. I'm going to select both, all engines, and we're just going to open the radiator as we're on the ground. So, what we're now going to do is we're going to put the rudder all the way... Actually, does that work? Having rudder trim all the way over there. Can I still move? Yes, I can. Right, that's pointless. I will adjust the rudder trim on takeoff, actually, because there's something that I need to note with Ultra Pack that you're going to need to know when you're flying bombers like this. Oh, no, engine 1. Just to turn it around. As you can see, this should be fairly easy. We only have one engine running out of the 4, so we're just going to do a very tight turn on the spot. And what I will then do is end up spinning out, because why not? Okay, yep. Let's just throttle engine 1 back. Throttle up on engine 4 all the way. Yeah, okay, cool. That's good. Yeah, okay. We can now successfully taxi down to the end of the runway. I'm going to need a lot of throttle for this. Oh, Jesus Christ. Say what, let's just start all the other engines as well. This is going to make it easier. Okay, so now we have all the engines running. I'm just going to wait until they're all running at the same speed, same RPM, there we go. And I'm going to throttle up to about 32%, and we're just going to bounce down the runway like this. We are picking up some speed, but it's nowhere near enough to take off, so I'm going to drop the throttle here, and the aircraft should start to slow down on its own. So we're going to turn around at the end of the runway, and then we'll go for our takeoff run. For some reason that PDI gauge is having none of it, and unfortunately we have stopped way too early, so I'm just gonna give us a little bit of a boost. There we go. That's perfect. Okie dokie. I shall now take engine 4. And throttle all the way up with it. So we just spin the aircraft around now. We're going to drop the throttle there. So what we're just going to do is we're just going to move the aircraft into position. I'm going to drop the flaps now, so we're now at takeoff flaps. So we're just going to get it pointed towards the end of the runway, and at which point we will stop. Ooh, heck. There we go, brakes on. He likes bouncing, this plane. Bloody hell, I forgot how much it bounced. Right, we're going to put the chocks in, and this is why. The Liberator really doesn't like taking off in a straight line, nor do any of the 4-engine bombers in IL-2. And it's something to do with the torque on the engines. So, what we need to do is we need to select all of the engines and throttle them all the way up. And select the 4th engine and drop it to about 20% throttle. This is the only engine we're going to control on takeoff. All the other engines are going to run at full speed. Only when we're off the ground can we change the percentage of the throttle that this is running at. So, I'm actually just going to give me some trim that way, and we will release chocks. Yeah, some more trimplers. Ah, I think it might be a different engine. Oh god, it's already gone wrong. We've already... Yeah, come on, other way, other way, other way. Go this way, go this way. Come on. Actually, this is relatively stable, actually. Oh, it wasn't until I started fiddling with the rudder, but I will. So we're going to pull up about now, because we don't really want to go and hit that church. Even though we might end up doing that. Oh, come on! More lift, please! Yeah, that's good. Jesus Christ, I would hate to live there. Especially with me as a pilot as well, jeez. Right, so we are now in the air, albeit going rather slow. So I'm actually just gonna select all engines, give them all throttle. We're only doing about 140 miles an hour, so what's that in kilometres? 240 and 130 knots. What I'm now going to do is I'm actually going to climb up to about 10,000 feet, or just above that, and we're going to do our bombing run from there. I might even go a bit higher, maybe like 15,000, but I will see you in a minute. So, I kind of gave up with the idea of having to climb to 10,000 feet because I may have stalled the aircraft and jammed all the flaps and it all went horribly wrong. But we are now, nevertheless, at altitude and we are at 10,350 feet. So this is the sort of altitude that you'd want to be conducting normal bombing runs at. So what we're going to do is actually, how far away are we from London? Let's have a look. How long would it take us to fly to London? Let's speed the game up and just get there really quick. Let's just go bomb London. I need to keep an eye on my bloody rudder controls, because they are screwing me up. And then I think I'll land the bomber at a 4-engine, not the 4-engined airfield, bloody hell. At an airfield near here somewhere. Maybe Biggin Hill or somewhere. Oh, hello. This is London. So what we're going to do now is I am going to bank hard left as I can. And I'm going to whack the level stabiliser back on. Now I just want to make sure that my rudders are staying still. And the plane is going in a straight line. It is. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the bomber's position, bomb aimers, and we're going to shift to F2 that again. So 240 miles an hour, 10,300 feet. Bomb site elevation, and we're going to set that about there. Okay, bomb doors are open. No, we're staying at 240, okay, so dropped about 70% throttle. I think we shall aim for this row of houses here, or somewhere like that. I'm gonna just... That's probably missed by a long way, but I don't care if they land in the water actually, that's quite a lot of bombs, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna follow them. And they have impacted actually somewhere nearish where I wanted them to impact. Oh, we could have gone for Tower Bridge. Oh, that takes the mick. We could have gone for Tower Bridge or the House of Parliament. We were literally so close to the House of Parliament. Why didn't we do that? Anyway, so that's another reason why I like the B-24. The bomb bay doors. They're just so sick. There's so, and you can get so much in there. It's so easy to do bombing runs with this thing. But as you can see there, the procedure for bombing was exactly the same as what we'd done before. So now, if I open the map up, I'm going to go land at the nearest airfield. So I'm going to chop the throttle, and we're going to dive 10,000 feet pretty much for this airfield here. I don't know which one this is. This could be Heathrow for all I know. But just before I land, I just want to take a moment to admire the B-24 going this fast. Wow, I bet it's never been this fast in its life. Okay, so zeroing the throttle again. We cannot land at this speed here. This is going to kill us if we do. So, what we're going to do is the usual. I'm now going to throttle up a bit because that was a bit too low, and the reason I'm doing this at 4 times speed is because it takes so long to turn. But I'm now going to slow it back down to normal, and come on, come on, come on. Right, so about here we're going to chop the throttle to about 40%. We're going to gear down and we're going to put the flaps down to take off. Just as we're coming in on approach. And then when the gear is fully down, we will then go for landing flaps and chop the throttle. Okay, so one gear has been locked. Is there something? Yep. Okay, all gear is locked. That's bomb site elevation, we don't want that. Okay, so flaps to landing and zero the throttle. Now I know our approach isn't straight. It might be by bomb aimer's standards. Oh, actually, this is a good idea. As you can see, we lost a bit of speed there, but I'm just going to use the rudder to bring the aircraft in. Hopefully on the runway, but, you know, it doesn't matter. Full throttle's a bit too much. Back to the cockpit, please. That was a pretty good landing, actually. Now all we've left to do is stop the aircraft on this very short piece of runway, which was possible. Wow, I really had to choose the flipping smallest runway I could to land on, didn't I? But yeah, we are on the ground. The bomber is safe, and we have just successfully dropped 16 bombs on London. So, we're gonna stop all the engines now. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode for carrier operations. Ta-ra.